Hello, everyone. My name is Tony Volpo, and I'm the head football coach at Castleton University in Castleton, Vermont. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to join our virtual prospect day, a day that we've had to obviously make some changes to our traditional style of a prospect day due to the circumstances surrounding the coronavirus. We, as a staff, would like to take this moment to wish everyone out there health, good habits as we try to work through this in the time that it exists. We're going to spend most of the day today getting you more familiar with our university, with its offerings, and then more specifically our football program. Where do we put our values? Where do we put our focus? Give you some background information, show you some facilities as well, and you'll hear from a number of different coaches in the areas that they do a lot of focus within the program. We'll be talking about academics, we'll be talking about community service, and you'll also get an opportunity to tour our facilities as well as tour virtually the campus as a whole also. So we thank you again for making the adjustment with the circumstances being what they are, and we hope that you enjoy this version and find it informative and beneficial for you as you work towards making your for seniors anyway, your final college selection, and for juniors who are just maybe beginning the process. So I'm going to segue now and turn to our presentation part of the event. And I'm going to start with a slide here that demonstrates the uniqueness of Castleton. I think one of the things that is great about our place is the atmosphere in which we play in. You're looking at a number of different pictures here on the screen that demonstrate what game day atmosphere is like for a home football game here most of the time. We will play in front of thousands of fans. We will play in front of a great community. We'll have a number of people that will come to the football game without anyone playing in the game that they know, just people that support the program, that live close to the university, that are maybe from the greater Rutland area, business people that support the school in general, or the garden variety family of four that will come to a college football game, small college football game on a college campus on a wonderful fall day, and let their kids run around and enjoy the day. So it's a community event more than it is just a football game. I know I could speak personally from my professional experience when I coached at another institution. We actually came to Castleton and played at here, and I was exposed to the environment of the pictures that you're seeing right now. And I was sitting up here in this press box area as an assistant coach at another college. And I remember saying to myself, very distinctly saying to myself, I can't believe how many people come to these football games. This is something that I've never experienced before in my time as a college football coach, and I've been doing this for 20 years. So when you come here, you'll see a great atmosphere, and it's important for players, guys that play the game of football. You want to play somewhere where it matters, and that is certainly the case here. So I'm going to move on from this slide and just give you some background on the university as a whole. Founded in 1787, 18th oldest school in the United States, just about 2,000 person undergraduate enrollment. We are spread out over 165 acres, offering over 75 programs of study, 12 graduate programs. Average class size at Castleton is 17 students. So you're going to be known. You will know your professor. Professor will know you by name. Will know probably more often than not if you're involved in a sport, and will take a personal stake in seeing your success. Average class size is something that is, we think, a benefit here. 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio, over 40 countries represented by our students. The geographic diversity on campus has grown in the 6 years that I've been here. That's something that the campus has done a very good job in, which I think is important to have. And $85 million invested in the campus over the past 10 years. And a lot of that has benefited athletics, football, and then other sports as well. Moving to the next slide here. As I said, that $85 million, a lot of it benefited athletics. And you're looking at some of the pictures there in front of you now. You can see our locker room on the top half of the screen. You can see on the bottom left corner, you'll see our varsity weight room, which comes staffed with full-time strength conditioning coaches. And that's just the varsity weight room. You have to play a sport in order to use that facility. We have another facility for the general campus, for the general student body, which the athletes are more than welcome to use as well. But the general student body cannot use the one that you're looking at in the bottom left screen, the bottom left portion of the screen. The bottom right portion is an aerial shot of the athletic complex and all of the outside facilities. You can see our stadium. Next to that, you can see the baseball, and then after that, you can see softball. And then just inside the screen, you will see the indoor athletic parts of the facilities in there. And we'll practice right where we play. We will practice right on the field turf stadium that we have. And we obviously will hold our games there as well. So a lot of the money that was invested in those 10 years, that $85 million, a lot of it a lot of these facilities falling into that category that you see there. Just some overview facts on the football program specifically. We have existed for 11 varsity seasons, so still fairly young, started in 2009. We play in the Eastern Collegiate Football Conference, the ECFC, as the abbreviation. We have been together 6 years as a staff. As I said, I finished up my 6th year as the head coach. So all of the accomplishments that I'm about to read from below the 6 years together as a staff are the accomplishments within 6 years that we've been here as a staff, not for the 11 varsity seasons that the program has been in existence, but rather just 6 years that we've existed here as a staff. So in that 6 years, 54 all-conference recipients, 80 academic all-conference recognitions, 8 COSIDA academic all-district recognitions, 4 major conference award winners, 4 all-New England recognitions, and 1 academic All-American. There's only been 2 academic All-Americans in the history of Castleton athletics, all sports, men's and women's, and the football team owns one of them. That's something that we're very proud of. I'd like to take a few minutes now and talk about what some of our alumni are doing out there as a profession with their Castleton degrees. Most of them football players, most of them recent graduates, some not, but we want to at least make you aware what people are doing when they leave here, where are they going, and how are they starting out their careers, and where have their careers taken them, all with one thing in common of starting here at Castleton University. So the first 2, we'll focus on the athletic training major. It's a very popular major here at Castleton. It's a 5-year master's model. And two people that you're looking at on the screen now, we're both football players. On the left side, Dan Seneff, very accomplished academically. You can see the bullet points there, what he's done. He graduated from Castleton and went on and got his master's degree. This was before, Dan graduated before they moved to the 5-year model, so that's why he went on and got his master's degree at Temple University. Got that in May of 2015 with a specialization in kinesiology. And then from there, went on to Stanford University, working with the football team and the volleyball team. You can see that picture there. Dan is the gentleman in black. We're right where my mouse is, out at practice, working with the football team. We really would have liked to try to get number 8 to come play football for us, but that didn't work. We ended up with Dan. So, but nonetheless, great student in his time here. And Dan has since moved on to Colgate University and has become an athletic trainer there. And Dan, originally being from New York, found that as an opportunity to get closer to home and be close to his family. And so he's done that fairly recently. Over on the right side, Trevor Sayers, who is this gentleman right here in the picture, graduated in 2016 from Castleton. He is a Cape Cod, Massachusetts product. We worked with the baseball team while at Texas State, so he went on to get his master's at Texas State and also did it before the 4-year master's model came to Castleton in the area of athletic training. Recently took a job with the Pittsburgh Pirates, which is the picture that you're looking at there, working with the sports medicine team after his graduation from Texas State. And he works at the Pirates spring training facility. So 2 guys, one off to Stanford and then Colgate, another with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 2 very well-known places, very well-known employers, great places to have on your resume, and it both started for them at Castleton University. Moving on to the area of exercise science, Joe Caligieri was a graduate before football was here. He's on the left-hand side of the screen, graduated in 2002, and then went on to get his master's degree at Boston College and in administrative studies, and then went on to start his own company. His company exists right outside the Boston, Massachusetts area, down in Needham, Massachusetts. It's called Stadium Performance. It is a company that strength trains athletes, rehabilitates injured athletes. Joe also contracts out his services to professional sports teams down where his business is, the Boston Cannons, Major League Lacrosse team known as the Boston Cannons, is who he's doing that with, I believe, currently right now. I know he did it very recently. He also worked with the Patriots in the past. He was the youngest director of rehabilitation when he was with the LA Kings in the NHL. So when it comes to sports medicine, and specifically within the New England market, Joe is very well known, very well respected. Scott Caulfield over on the right side graduated in 2000. That is Scott right there in the squatted position. One point in time was the Vermont State Director for Fitness. Was also a strength and conditioning coach at Dartmouth College, and currently the head strength and conditioning coach at the National Strength and Conditioning Association, the NSCA, out in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The NSCA is really all things strength training related. It's where a lot of science goes in, a lot of research goes in. It's sort of the hub, if you will, of all things strength and conditioning related. Scott is a good friend of the program, someone that I talk with probably 4 or 5 times throughout the course of a year. He's always willing to talk with our players, even recruits, about the Castleton experience, the Castleton education, and how it helped him get to where he is today. So I believe in this picture here, he's working with the Colorado State Police, the SWAT division, and training them at their site of the NSCA there. Moving on in the area of still exercise science, but specifically with the specialization in biology, Justin Nolan, a more recent graduate that did play football. Justin obviously is here in this picture and then is on this side in the picture down below. Played 23 games, recorded some statistics there at the top. You can see did very well academically in his time here. Currently working for a company called Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, which is in the Rensselaer, New York area, which is not that far from where Castleton is. And it's actually a very, very well-known, publicly traded Fortune 500 company worth $6 billion. It's one of the top companies in the United States. He works there as a biotech production specialist in the manufacturing department, basically helping them develop their drugs. He got an $8,000 signing bonus when he went to work for them, and in just a short amount of time is doing quite well for himself. Next one, we'll switch gears a little bit and get into sport management. Cody Collins on the left-hand side of the screen, graduated in 2018, worked at Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment as an account executive, promoted after 7 months. They basically were the company that helped to promote and do game day management for the Philadelphia 76ers and New Jersey Devils. So was part of the sports entertainment world and did well for himself. And then transitioned on from there to currently work as the general manager of sports properties with the Central Connecticut State Athletic Department. And again, the same thing, trying to help coordinate and drive ticket sales, the game day atmosphere, community service, all of those things. So working within the area of athletics and doing well is Cody. Across from him, Nick Bowles, graduated in 18, same year as Cody. Currently working in the Carolina Hurricanes organization in the NHL as a member of the business development team. Recently promoted from ticket sales after being the #1 revenue generator with just over $350,000 in sales. So he's down in Raleigh, North Carolina, working for a professional sports organization, the Carolina Hurricanes, and is climbing the ladder in the short amount of time that he has been graduated from Castleton. You can see the quote there from Nick. Consistency is one of the most important things in sales. Excuse me, this is not from Nick, but rather from his boss. Consistency is one of the most important things in sales. Nick consistently brought his maximum effort and attitude every day. Derek Allen, his boss, with the Carolina Hurricanes. So we're proud that Nick is climbing the chain in the area of sports management with the Carolina Hurricanes. Jeremy Cohen, this is a neat one. He was part of the inaugural team in 2009, graduated in 2012, double major between business and sports management, became a certified NFL player agent and Major League Baseball player advisor for a company called BTI Sports in New York, which is where Jeremy is from. Many people talk about wanting to become a sports agent when they want to get into the field of sports management. Very few end up doing it, realizing it, becoming it. Jeremy was one that saw it all the way through. So his company that he works for, BTI Sports, they represent such players as Nick Mangold in the NFL, who used to play for the Jets, Theo Reddick in the NFL, Orlando Scandrick in the NFL, and then a couple of Major League Baseball players listed there, Nefti Felice and Jose Valdez. So Jeremy's someone that we're very proud of, that has helped our players in the past with breaking into the sport management world, getting a job, and he himself has done very well. What a thrill. Every picture taken with a Lombardi Trophy as a young professional. Business administration now on the left side, George Boucheris, 2016. On the right side, Cam McHale, 2018. George specialized in marketing, went on to work in Washington, D.C. as an account executive for a company called Okta, which is a major cybersecurity firm. It's a multinational company based out of San Francisco, currently valued at over $6 billion. He leads business-to-business sales in Manhattan, New York, does so from his Washington, D.C. Office location. Two-time all-conference player and second all-time in passing, as you can see, the picture of him at the quarterback position. Cam McHale over on the right side, specialization in management, but then upon graduation went and pursued the area of finance, passed the Series 6, Series 7 licensure, and is now currently working in Phoenix, Arizona for a company called AXA Equitable. And he works within the company's financial sector. AXA is a French company headquartered in Paris, and it's a major investment firm. And so Cam is doing a lot of retirement planning, a lot of brokerage for clients. And AXA is the world's second largest financial services company with about $1.5 trillion under its watch. And Cam in this picture here is the gentleman holding the trophy all the way over where my mouse is right now. That is Cam McHale from the Connecticut area. And Cam is doing quite well for himself in the area of finance, investments, retirement planning. So if that's something that you look to pursue, Castleton can get you there, as Cam is living proof of that. Moving on to kind of a mixed bag now, if you will, of a number of different majors. So we put it all under the liberal arts umbrella, if you will. On the left side, Mike Perrone went into the teaching and coaching fields, majored in physical education, got his undergraduate in 2015, got his master's in athletic leadership in 2016. You can see the number of accomplishments there. While pursuing his master's in 2016, he coached with us and did a great job. And upon finishing his master's degree in 1 year, he became a full-time physical education teacher and head coach for 3 sports over at Warrensburg High School, which is in the Adirondack region of New York, which is where Mike is from. So he's 26 years old now and doing very well for himself in the area of education. Castleton founded as a teacher's college, so Mike took full advantage of that and got his physical education certification and is doing well for himself. Over on the right, Isaac Ben David, a communications major, 2016, vice president for SGA while playing for us, 2-time academic all-conference. He was a member of the Castleton mentoring program, which is something that Coach Marcella will talk about a little bit later in this presentation when he starts to talk about the areas of community service and what we're involved in, what we ask our players to be involved in. Currently working right now as a WCAX television station reporter. He is on doing live editorials on TV. Obviously, that's where we got this picture from. I don't think he's done. I think Isaac Ben David will climb the ladder and will be in a major network news station before not too much longer before that happens. He got his opportunity because he did an internship with WCAX when he was a student here. WCAX, located up in the Burlington, Vermont area, probably the biggest station for the state of Vermont. And Isaac is someone that comes back regularly to talk to our guys, talk to them about the importance of internships, talks about helping our guys, getting them an internship with where he's at if they happen to be communication majors. And Isaac is doing quite well for himself.
Future Spartans, my name's Ike Ben David. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. I'm going to answer a few questions off just the top of my head like I was there. First, a little bit about me. I'm a news reporter and sports anchor at WCAX, the CBS affiliate here in Burlington, Vermont, and of course a graduate of the class of 2016 and a proud member of the football team. The first question here, how has Castleton prepared me? Now, for me, the liberal arts style college of Castleton really helped me out. You know, I was able to focus on exactly what I needed to do for my major personally, but in addition, I got to branch out and find some of those other interests. I love food. I was able to do some science classes with food. That's my personal experience. I know there's a ton of other options at the university there. Next question, what makes it unique? Just look around if you're on campus right now. There is so much history in beautiful Vermont here, but in addition, there's new facilities. And as a student athlete and also as a student, you know, that just makes it a step above those other experiences. And I can speak from that because my next question was, as a transfer student, what was the biggest difference? And being fully immersed in another program for football, in addition to academics for another school, I can just tell you I'm so happy I made that switch to Castleton. The adjustment was easy, and at the end of the day, I'm happy to be where I am, not only for that football family, but academics. It's really an opportunity. Again, if you have any questions, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. Ask Coach and get my contact information, and I hope to see you on the field soon.
Continuing on the left side, Kevin Albrook, graduated 2014, was one of our major award winners. He was the Offensive Player of the Year in 2014 for the ECFC. Majored in global studies, specializations of governments in Africa and the Middle East. You can see did very well academically in his time here. Was involved in ROTC, so he found a way to balance academics, athletics, and being involved in ROTC. So if you're thinking about that, if it is something that you're considering, the Army branch is located right on our right on our campus. And Kevin is living proof of being able to do all 3 of those entities, do well academically, participate in ROTC and do well, and then obviously have accomplishments on the football field in the area of athletics. Was also one of our All-New England selections, played professionally over in Finland. That is what this other picture here is showing you. That's a live shot of him playing over there, got paid to play, and had to give it up to go and fulfill his ROTC requirements, and got stationed up in upstate New York, and then specifically Fort Drum. Over on the right side, in the area of criminal justice, Ethan McCure graduated in 2014. You can see his accomplishments there academically, as well as athletically his time on the football field. Graduated from the Regional Police Academy in New York, was employed 3 months after graduation as a police officer in Granville, New York, which is just over the border from Vermont, and is currently deputy sheriff / canine handler for the Washington County. So he's already been promoted in the short amount of time that he's been out and is climbing the ranks in the area of criminal justice, and we're proud of. Ethan comes by practice regularly. His father actually coached with us for a good number of years, and is someone that's very close to the program, and we've enjoyed watching his success professionally. So what I'd like to do now is take a step back and allow Coach Casey McDonald to to allow him the opportunity to speak on our academic oversights, what we do for the football program, to make sure that your son is being watched carefully and make sure your son is on the right path to graduate in the correct time with his degree, and the checks and balances that we have in place to ensure that that's going to happen, and what kind of accomplishments have we had along the way from the area of academics. What kind of profile do we currently have? What kind of company are we in? What kind of numbers are we generating academically? Where has our GPA gone to? And where do we compare to the rest of our conference? So I'm going to step out now and allow Coach McDonald to do his part with the area of academic oversight. Thank you. I will be back in a minute.
Hi, everyone. My name is Coach Casey McDonald. And just like Coach Wilpone alluded to, I'm here to share some insight about some of the protocols we have academically as a program. We obviously want to have as much success as possible on the football field, but priority number one for us needs to be that we give every resource we can to make sure that you're succeeding in the classroom and that you leave Castleton with a meaningful degree after your 4 years here. So I'm here today to just share some of the things that we do as a program and also share some of the checks and balances that we have, as well as some of the success that we've had as we've continued along as a program. So first, what I'd like to share with you here is just two of our goals. These are things that our guys memorize, they live by, but then this is also how we measure our success from semester to semester as a coaching staff as well too. As you see here, it's to achieve a 3.0 GPA as a team, and then to be the most represented program within the ECFC, our conference, as it pertains to the all-academic team. And we'll share how we've done in both those areas as we go through this presentation. But first and foremost, I wanted to share with you just some of the protocols that we have in place, some of the things that we do to make sure that we are ensuring the overall success of each student athlete within the program. First and foremost, one of the main things that we do is we have weekly academic coach meetings. And as you see here, each player within the program is assigned a coach on the roster, or a coach on the staff, excuse me. And what we do is once a week, each player will meet with their coach in the coach's football office, and we talk very much like a guidance counselor and advisor would about any tests that are coming up, any assignments that are due, just a way to have somebody there to monitor on a weekly basis the overall success of each student athlete within the program. During these meetings, we have a number of different things that we do. First off, as you see here, we set up a weekly schedule with the guys. We used to do this on paper, and then we realized it was a little more efficient to do this through cell phones. So as you see, we work out a weekly schedule with our guys, and we put in everything we possibly can when they wake up, when they have their lifts, when their academic meeting is scheduled, when they have to meet with a tutor if they have that service put in place, as well as all their classes. And we really stress with the guys setting up alarms before every class in their phones. So this is one of the first things we stress with the guys as a way to establish time management and as a way to just set up some structure for each student athlete within the program. We also do weekly grade sheets with the guys, and this is a way to take a look at how they're doing in each individual class. As you see here, it's broken up by exams, quizzes, papers, projects, and presentations. And what this allows us to do is look at how the kids are doing in each class as it pertains to their overall success. And then also how specifically we can help them out. You see here, this is just kind of a little mock example of how a weekly grade sheet would look, but it gives us the ability to see if somebody is struggling in a class, what we can do to help out specifically. Maybe a student athlete isn't a great test taker, or maybe they have a hard time with formatting papers. And the structure of these grade sheets allows us to see specifically what we can pinpoint in our efforts to improve within the classroom. We also have professor sheets that we do if someone in the program is struggling. How these work are this document gets brought directly to each professor, and then the professors fill out everything that you see here between how many days a student was absent, what their current grade in the class is, and most importantly, as you see, is right here with the professor comments, being able to see directly from the teacher themselves what the kid needs to do, what the student athlete needs to do to be most successful in the class. And it gives us a chance to get a little bit more communication between not just the student athlete and the professor, but it also allows us, again, another way to see what we can focus on in our efforts to improve in the classroom as a program too. You see another mock example of what a professor sheet would look like here. We also have weekly study halls. We do these twice a week, all year long, both in season and out of season. Thursdays and Sundays, 7:30 to 9 o'clock. We do them over in Leavenworth, the Leavenworth Academic Building. We do on Thursdays, it's the entire program, everybody within the program. And then Sundays, we do all first-year players and anybody who has a 2.75 GPA or lower. And we monitor that each semester to make sure that we know who's supposed to be going to each study hall. What's really great about this study hall, too, is that we've also broken it up by your major. So you're not just sitting around in a room with a bunch of your friends just, you know, hanging out or so. Being able to sit in a classroom with people that have a similar focus when it comes to their academics gives you the opportunity to have some structure to your studies. So everybody who's a criminal justice major is all sitting in a room together. Everybody who's a business major is all sitting in a room together, so on and so forth, just to help with providing that structure as people are going through their study halls. This is probably our favorite one as a coaching staff. We have coach class checks. So what we do is that each semester we get the overall class schedule from each one of our student athletes within the program. And at any point during the week, we as a coaching staff will pick a random time and a random day, as you see here. So it's set up for 10 o'clock on Wednesdays in this example that you see in front of you. And what we'll do is we'll go out among the campus and we'll check to make sure that everybody who's listed as having class during that time is in class. If we find that somebody is not in class and they did not communicate with us, we have a few reminders that we do in practice or during spring ball to remind them to make sure they go to practice. But this is a great way for us to hold the guys accountable to make sure that they're still showing up to class, which is just as important and quite a big priority. So the Academic Support Center is another resource that we have here at Castleton. This is something that's available to all students within Castleton, but also particularly with the program, there's two individuals through the Academic Support Center that work very closely with us as well too. Kelly Beckwith and Jerry Volpe, both of which have done a tremendous job working in a great relationship with us, so that way if anybody within the program is struggling, they can go to Kelly or Jerry with their additional help as well too. The Academic Support Center is located in Babcock Hall, and it's a great way for our students here at Castleton to request tutors. They also have morning sessions where if you want to go in and get a peer edit on a paper or to get some additional help with math, they have morning clinics that you can just walk right in without an appointment and get some additional help as you need it. I mentioned Jerry Volpe a little bit as well. One of the great things that he does with us too is he also does these first-year mentor sessions. So a big thing that we focus on, especially with our first-year students and our freshman student athletes here with the program, is the transition, learning how to handle the college academic structure. It's obviously going to be a little bit different than the high school setting, so we want to make sure that we do everything in our power to give them the tools to succeed and transition into that college setting as efficiently as possible. So this first year mentor session, it happens every other Tuesday during their first semester. And it's Jerry and a few of our older student athletes within the program. And it's set up like an FAQ kind of a session where any of our first year players have any questions. It's kind of open forum where they can ask some questions about whether it be requesting a tutor, how to do so, how to sign up for classes, how to do add drop, whether it's how to access the portal, the online service that's available as a Castleton resource academically. Any number of things like this, with the overall theme being, how do we get it so that way first-year students are able to transition into that college academic structure as smoothly as possible. One of the other things we also do is we make sure that we follow and adhere to the eligibility requirements set forth by the NCA as well as by Castleton University as a whole. We lay out what those eligibility requirements are with everybody within the program, and then we also monitor how our guys are doing as it relates to those eligibility requirements. If somebody is struggling and if they're having a hard time, we'll set up a document just like you see here. This is just an example, a random one that we've kind of prepared to give you a general idea. But this is very similar to what we would do, where we would sit down with the student athlete who's close to ineligibility or is facing ineligibility, and we lay out where he is, where he needs to become eligible, and some suggested courses of action in order to get himself back to being eligible. If somebody is not able to perform in the classroom and they are having some struggles where they're becoming ineligible, we will pull football to make sure that they're getting it done in the classroom. Because as we talked about, as much as we want to succeed on the football field, we want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to make sure that you're coming away with a meaningful degree and that you're succeeding in the classroom first. That's priority number one. So we're very lucky to say that, when we put that out there, and it's done so on a case-by-case basis, our guys are able to follow this suggested course of action and do what they need to do to get themselves back to being eligible again. So those are just some of the protocols and some of the tools that we use as a program. And this is hopefully going to highlight just exactly how successful we've been able to be using those tools in place. As you see in front of you here, this is just a semester by semester overall view of how we've done academically each year. What we really take a lot of pride in and what we really like to show you here as we highlight is, as you see the transition from the fall semesters to the spring semester, the GPA goes up every year. So for example, going from the fall of 2018 into the spring of 2019, where you had a 2.72 GPA as a team in the fall of 2018, going into the next semester having a 2.88. And what we really think a lot of that is accredited to is exactly what we talked about. Those first-year players learning how to transition to that college setting, how that college structure works, and being able to adapt to it as efficiently as possible. So we look at that as a very positive thing, and we have a lot of optimism as we go about. You see below here in the fall of 2019, having a 2.83 term GPA and a 2.82 cum, and we're very hopeful and optimistic that that will only go up in future semesters to come here. You also see our 3.0, the number of players that we had that had a 3.0, and obviously as you see below this past semester, the fall of 2019, we had 51 players have a 3.0, which is the most that we've ever had. You also see here the all-academic team, the other goal that we mentioned with our guys amongst those two goals. When we came here as a coaching staff and when we established these academic structures in this culture, it was right in that in between of fall, our fall 2014 was our first semester putting those protocols in place and bringing forth this academic culture. We took over a program that you see here in fall of 2013 only had 3 players earn the academic all-conference recognitions. As well as that, there were only 13 players in this year of fall 2013 that had a 3.0 or higher. We just alluded to the 51 players that just recently had the 3.0. And then you see here, since we've been able to come in and put this academic culture in place as a coaching staff, we've been in double digits every year with the all academic selections. We'll talk a little bit more about the fall of 2019 in a little bit here, but we'd also like to highlight in the fall of 2017, the 13 players that were recognized that year were the most representatives in the ECFC, then achieving our goal that we talk about as a program. And in the fall of 2016, the 16 players that earned the all-conference recognition, that was the most we have ever had as a program. You also see here before you the Castleton Football 3.0 board. This is hanging outside of the coach's office. And what we do is every semester, we take everybody that had a 3.0 or higher GPA for that term, the previous term, and we put them up on this board to hang for the entire next semester. So as you see here, this is the board after our 51 players that were able to earn it in the fall of 2019, the most we've ever had. So we're looking to hopefully get a bigger board for years to come here. We're very proud of our guys for being able to get this done. Some additional acknowledgments that we really like to share with you as well too. The COSIDA Awards, essentially what this is sort of the in-between between academic all-conference and academic all-American. It's a regional award that's selected by sports information directors, hence the COSIDA abbreviation. From the years of 2014 to 2016, we've had 2 or more players selected each year within that span to the COSIDA all-district team, and we were one of only 3 schools to be able to do that, the other 2 being MIT and WPI, which academically speaking is some pretty good company to be involved with. Also in 2016, we had our first academic All-American in the football program's history in Soren Pels-Walsh. At that point in time, currently one of only 2 athletes within Castleton Athletics to have earned that acknowledgement. In 2018, we also had 6 players that were representatives in the National Football Foundation's Hampshire Honor Society. These 6 players, which are highlighted in front of you, it was the most represented team within the ECFC on that National Football Foundation selection as well. In 2019, this past semester, as we just talked about, the academic all-conference we talked about already, we had 15 representatives this past semester. And as you see here, in comparison to the other teams within our conference, we were able to accomplish our goal, being the most represented team. And we did so in a way that we're pretty proud of, being able to be that much higher than the other teams in our conference, as you see below here. The second place team being at 9 representatives. I should mention also, to be on the academic all-conference team, you need to have a cumulative GPA of a 3.3 and also be with the Castleton program or with your program for 2 or more years as well. Also, this past semester, the ECFC decided to have the academic honor roll as well too. This was a way to represent and honor the student athletes that might not have qualified for all conference selections, but still we wanted to recognize their overall academic success. So this was awarded to any student athlete that achieved a 3.0 term GPA or a cumulative GPA of a 3.0. And as you see here, we were also the most represented team within the ECFC in that category as well too, the second place team being at 32, as you see in front of you here. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into what we do as a program academically. Again, all the success that we want to have on the football field is great, but priority number 1 is to make sure that when you graduate from Castleton, you feel like you've got a meaningful degree and that you feel like you're on the best path to get to the career that you want. So it's a big priority for us. It's one of the 2 main pillars that we focus on here as a program, the other one being community service. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. And with that, I'd like to pass it off to Coach Anthony Marcella to talk about community service.
How you doing? I'm Anthony Marcella. I'm the defensive coordinator here at Castleton, and I also run the community service side of things for our football team. The community of Castleton gives us so much as a program, and we have to do everything we can as a program to give back to them in any way that we can. If you see us on game day, they come out in full force and support us on game day. Our stands are full, and they really come and support us any chance that they can. So it's up to us as a program to make sure we're giving back to them in really any way that they ask us to. Our players have really bought into our community service program. It's something that a lot of them look forward to on a regular basis with the number of programs that we do throughout the school year. So I just want to take the time now to talk to you about that stuff and give you an overview of kind of what we do with the community, with our community outreach program. So we track each student's community service hours throughout their entire time here at Castleton. From the day they step on campus until the day they graduate, we keep track of all their community service throughout that entire time. This is just a screenshot of kind of how we do that. This is up until probably about midway through that first semester. And you see that we break it down by each student, how many hours they do, how many different projects they do throughout the year. So we're really able to see which of our students are fully bought into the community service program. And by the end of their time here at Castleton, by the time they graduate, they're able to see how many hours they've actually given back to the community, which is really cool. One of the big programs that we undertake each year is the Coach for Cure event. We dedicate a game each year. It's usually our homecoming game, our Norwich game, our rivalry game, that we dedicate each year towards this specific cause, Coach for Cure. And if you see the little boy in the middle, that's Nathan Cosgrove. He actually suffers from a form of muscular dystrophy that is really unfortunate for him, but we adopted him as one of our players. He's with our team in the locker room, he's with our team on the sideline, and there's no bigger fan of Castleton than Nathan Cosgrove. And it's really cool to have him around the team to kind of to really get to know our guys, and our guys really get to know him. And it's great for our guys to really put into perspective how really lucky they are as college athletes to have these physical abilities that not everybody has. So we make sure we dedicate a game each year to Nate and his cause with Coach to Cure muscular dystrophy. And it's a great time for us to have Nate around, and it's a great time for him, and it hopefully gets the word out and spreads the word of his cause, because it really is an important event for us each year. The Be the Match bone marrow drive is something we do every spring. Obviously this spring it's going to be a little different with everything going on, but in the past we've held events on campus that try to get as many people into a database as possible to be potential matches for people with forms of bone marrow cancer or other cancers, that they could possibly go on and donate stem cells, red blood cells in the future to people who really need them and who are in really dire situations for these things. So it's a cause that we undertake each year to really try to get as many people into this database as possible, because the Be the Match program is a national program that tries to really save as many lives as possible. And we have to do our part to really take that by the reins and run with it. If you see our player here, he actually ended up saving the life of a person a couple years ago, which is a huge thing. We always say that there are really two great things you can do in life. Number one is create a life, and number two is save a life. And our guys are way too young to be creating lives at this point, so we love it when we can save a life. And it's just great when our guys are able to step up, when you're the match for one of these possible cancer patients, and you hear that you could be a donor and possibly save a life. It's great that our guys actually step up and get that done. But the Be the Match drive is something our guys look forward to every year, and it's just a great national program that gets that word out for everybody. Sergeant Jason Richard Allen, unfortunately, passed away a few years ago. He was a Rutland police officer right downtown, and he passed away right around Christmas time, leaving behind a wife and some children in a really unfortunate situation. And the really cool thing about this story is that our captains heard of this happening and took it upon themselves and said, we need to do something to help this family out, this family that's going through this really difficult time during Christmas. We want to make sure that they're not thinking about how to put presents under the tree or anything like that. So our captains organized it amongst themselves and were able to raise money to donate to his wife and his children, so that she didn't have to worry about those things during this difficult time. So it's just great that our students are so bought into the community service that when they see things going on in the community, they don't even hesitate to step up and say, we need to do something as a team, because like we said, the Castleton community gives us so much as a program that it's up to us to give back any chance that we can. So this is just a great example of that. We constantly help out at the Castleton Senior Center. It's located right downtown, maybe half a mile away from campus. And the Senior Center knows that they can call us up anytime, any day, no matter what they need us to do. We're able to get it done as a team. We have over 100 able-bodied men at our disposal that can take care of things from parking lot cleanups to raking leaves to shoveling snow. The senior center knows that anytime they pick up the phone, we're going to answer it, and we're going to get guys together to help them out in any way that we can. And that's just not the senior center. That's really any Castleton, any community kind of organization knows that they can call us up in a moment's notice, and we're gonna be able to help them out. So it's just great that the community can really lean on us whenever they need us. The Castleton Mentoring Program down at the elementary school right downtown is something our players look forward to all the time. It's a program that they start as freshmen when they come into Castleton, and they're assigned a mentoree, someone that they mentor through the 4 years that they're here at school. They meet with them at the elementary school during lunchtime once a week, so it doesn't conflict with any classes that we have or anything like that, or any practices. But it's great to give these kids a positive male role model in their lives that many of them probably don't have at home. So it's a way for our guys to give back, but it's a way to really connect with these young kids and make their lives better in any way that we can, whether it's playing with them at recess, hanging out with them at lunch, just listening to what they have to talk about. And you'd be surprised how much that really makes a difference in the lives of some of these kids. But our guys have a lot of fun with it. I mean, the school supplies lunch, so a lot of our guys go for lunch also, which is great, but they're out there with recess, just spending as much time as they can once a week with their mentoree. Some of the other projects that we do throughout the year, we do 2 blood drives, sometimes 3 blood drives every year on campus, trying to give back to the Red Cross and get as much blood donation as possible. We donate a game each year to breast cancer awareness to raise awareness for that great cause. Library book move, the library called us and said, we have a couple thousand books that we need moved and we just don't have the manpower. So they called us as a program, and we were able to get 20 to 30 guys together to move all these library books for the library, which would have taken them hours. It took us maybe like 45 minutes to do. And our guys stepped up, no problem at all, and got that done really quickly. The Castleton Town Festival at Lake Bomazine, right down the road, 5 minutes down the road, is an annual event that is hosted during our camp in the summertime. And we were able to help them out by setting up, moving picnic tables, volunteering our time to help the Castleton community during the festival. Another event is the Game of Life event hosted on campus every year. And that's something put on by the student body that we kind of help out and run the booths. If you've ever played the game Life, the board game, it's kind of similar to that, but with a little more modern and realistic takes on it that teach the students kind of how to go about regular life as an adult. So we really look forward to that each year in the spring. And then in addition to those, we do about 27 different other community service projects throughout the year, involving over 450 player opportunities. So the community service aspect of our program is one of the pillars that we rely on to be a successful program. When you come in as a student, you know that you're going to get a great education, you're going to play some high quality Division III football and have a chance to win the conference and play on the national stage in the NCAA playoffs. But also you're going to be able to give back to the community that gives us so much as a program. Like I said, we're really lucky as student athletes to be able-bodied and to have the workforce that we do as over 100 students on our team, able to give back to the community in any way that we can. And our players really appreciate that, and they know how lucky they are and how great their situation is being a college football player. But the really great thing about all of our players' understanding is that it's not just about them. They need to give back to the community because, like we said, the community gives us so much as a program. So I'm going to send it back to Coach Valpone. He's going to wrap things up for you here. Thank you so much for spending time with us. If you have any questions about the community service aspect of things or about the defense, as the defensive coordinator, I can answer any questions you have about scheme or any game plan, stuff like that. If you want to reach out to me, my contact information is on the website, my email address. Don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to hopefully seeing you in person at some point if I haven't yet. We're going to get through this virus thing, and we're going to get you on campus, and we're going to have a great career with it. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay positive, and we'll do the best we can to get you on campus as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Coach Valpone here again, and we're going to get ready to wrap things up here as we wind down our virtual session, virtual Prospect Day session. We want to thank you so far for the patience that you've had in handling this new format. But in conclusion here, as we wind down, one of the things that's always asked by parents mostly is that if my son goes to play for you and comes to Castleton and elects to be on the football team and play for you, What is he getting into? What is Castleton football stand for? And essentially, what is the coaching philosophy? What is the philosophy of the program? And so I want to share with you what that philosophy is. And if you look at the screen here, we are going to move to what it is that is our philosophy, okay? And we live and die by one statement, and we call it our mission statement. You can see it here in front of you now. And to read it off, to develop the most united, disciplined, physical, and fundamentally sound football family that values the importance of academics and becomes integrated within the community, demonstrated through unmatched focus and work ethic while establishing lifelong friendships and memories. And that's our philosophy. That's what your son is getting into when they come here. And I'm just going to take a minute on most of these points here to further clarify what it is that we're looking for. When we talk about being united, we talk about just that. We talk about representing a team. We're not trying to be a bunch of individuals. We have a certain color code that we are to live by out at practice and in games. We want people to understand it's as much about the person to the right of them and to the left of them, and probably more so than it is about themselves. We don't like the people that bang on their chest or draw the attention to themselves, but rather the people that understand the importance of a team. Discipline. We want guys to have the fundamental understanding for every action is an equal and opposite reaction. And we do that because that's the way the real world is going to work out there. For every action that you do, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For example, if you don't go to class within our program and you don't communicate that, then something's going to happen. Just like out in the real world, if you don't go to work someday and you don't tell anybody about it, there's going to be a problem. So just understanding the fundamental differences between right and wrong, and making sure that they are held accountable for their actions. Physical, this is a big one lately with concussions and the nervousness around the area of concussions. We want to be physical in practice, but we want to be responsible with it. We practice correctly. We have our drill set up correctly. We are doing everything to make sure that the safety of our players is there for them, so that we have a team to be able to go out into the field on Saturday. We will have a physicality to our practice, but we want to stay up off the ground. We are not tackling live. We demonstrate as a coaching staff good practice habits, what we want to see out of practice and what we don't want to see out of practice. And we do that in preseason so that guys understand the ground rules from the very beginning and that there's no misunderstanding. So it's finding that fine line of being physical, but at the same time being responsible so that you're not endangering player safety. Fundamentally sound, our philosophy here is 100 pennies make a dollar. We want to start at the little things and add up to the bigger picture. We have fundy periods in our practice. We have individual periods in our practice. So we start small and we end big. We are not a program that's going to spend 30 minutes running a whole bunch of team sessions or scrimmaging for a long period of time, because we believe you start small and you arrive at those bigger pieces. So more time spent on the fundamental aspects of the game, tackling, takeoffs for an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, drops for a quarterback, block destruction for a linebacker, footwork for defensive back, et cetera, and et cetera. So those small pieces adding up to the bigger piece. Family, we tell your son what they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear. We have a philosophy here, and I'm going to try to demonstrate it as best I can on camera, of coaching from an arm's distance. We want to keep that arm's distance between us and your son. The reason we do that is two reasons, really. Number one, we need to be able to have very candid, very honest, and very professional and clear conversations with your son and the expectations of our football program, whether it be academically, whether it be in the area of community service, whether it be in the area of his decision-making in and around campus. If he's not living up to the expectations, i.e. the mission statement of the football program, then we need to be able to sit down and have a very clear unsugar-coated conversation with him that gets the point across very, very quickly and very, very clearly. At the same time, we want to make sure that they're just far enough away that we can bring them in for a hug if that is something that is needed at that point in time. They all go through some difficult times. They're the adjustment of being away from home, a different learning style in college than it is in high school, peer pressure of making new friends, any number of things that they're going to struggle with in their time, in their first year, or any time in their time away from home and at school, that we want to make sure that we can bring them in for the hug at the same time as well. So keeping that arm's distance so that we can have that candid, professional, straightforward conversation, but at the same time, when it's needed, bring them in for a hug, possibly cry with them, and talk with them if the situation presents itself that that's what's needed at that point in time. Academics, Coach McDonald talked about that quite extensively. Quite simply, if they ever say to us in the recruiting process, I'm coming to Castleton because I want to play football, then we know the priorities are out of line. That makes us nervous, and it makes us wonder if we should continue with the recruiting process. Bottom line is, they're not going to class, they're not turning in the work, they're coming off of the practice field, and they will eventually not be able to play in games because of that. Community, we get such great turnout, as you've seen through the presentation today, with the stands looking the way that they look, the crowds being what they are, the atmosphere that's created on our home football games. We have to do something to give back to those people, whether it be walks for a certain cause. We've done Alzheimer's, we've done breast cancer walks, we've done blood drives on campus, we've done bone marrow drives on campus. We are the leaders in the campus. We feel like in the area of community service that if anybody needs anything on campus or just off the campus, they call us and we help them. We ask our guys to get involved. We don't ask them to do everything, but we do ask them to do something. And as Coach Marcella has shown you and talked about with you, we track it all. So we know who's the leader, who's not doing anything, and we talk to them about it and where everybody else fits in between. So academics and community service, two pillars of our program here. Demonstrated through unmatched focus. I'm sure as parents, you can appreciate this. How many times have you told your son to do something 5 seconds later as if you've spoken in a foreign language to him? We actually have a focus drill. We have a drill in practice that we do towards the end of practice, which is designed to get the team to do just that, to focus, to finish as a group through a collection of movements without making any mistakes before we can conclude practice, because it's at the end of practice where the focus starts to go. They start thinking about, taking a nap. They start thinking about work that maybe they need to do afterwards, or just getting out of practice in general, and therefore they start to lose their focus. So we try to bring it back into place with this drill, and something that we've done for a number of years, and it's been beneficial for us. I'd like to think that there's a connection between being one of the least penalized teams in the league for the last 4 years and the fact that we have done this drill every year since we've been here as a coaching staff. I think that there's a correlation, and we're going to keep doing it. Work ethic, simply, we want players that are going to arrive early to practice and then stay later. Guys that are going to work hard in the off season, guys that are going to go out during free periods during the day and work on positional drills to get themselves better. There is no substitute for just old-fashioned hard work, and we want those kinds of people in our program. We mentioned an All-American at the beginning of the presentation. His name was Soren Pels-Walsh. Soren Pels-Walsh was an All-American because he had an unbelievable work ethic. He had an All-American work ethic. He would go out in the middle of the day knowing that we had practice later that afternoon. So he himself would have double session practices during the season. That's the kind of work ethic that Soren had. While establishing lifelong friendships and memories. The reasons why I'm in this profession and why I chose to do this is not necessarily because wins, losses, or awards, or recognitions, or certainly not money or anything like that, but just the thought of getting our players that are alumni at some point coming back to campus. speaking to the team, wanting to see the coaches, wanting to see the players that they played with just a year or two ago, or maybe more than that. And that's one of the things that always happens here. In every preseason, we have multiple players come back during camp to talk to our guys, talk to them about what it means to be a Castleton football player, talk to them about what it's like out there in the real world, talk to them about what they've learned being part of the program. And that's what makes this great, seeing all of the people that we talked about at the beginning here with those alumni profiles go out there into the real world and make a difference and accomplish some great things, and then feeling compelled to come back and share their story with the players in our program. So when your son comes off to Castleton and wants to play football, this is what they're getting into. This is the philosophy. This is what we stand for. It's one statement, and then the next part is two questions, and here it is with the two questions. Can I fulfill the mission statement? This is a question that we're asking of our players. Can I fulfill the mission statement, the statement that was just up a second ago, while competing and overcoming adversity? We want competitors. We want people that are going to welcome competition. We have competition periods in our practice. That's exactly what they're called, competition period. And some of them are football related. Some of them are a little bit different from the game of football, but they're all designed to find out who's a competitor, who's going to jump out in front of the group and want to participate in that drill, and who's going to shy away towards the back and be a little bit gun shy and wanting to go out there and compete, because you have to compete in college football. You have to compete out there in the real world. And then we want people that understand overcoming adversity. Everybody can be a great leader when it's sunny and 60 and you're dating the homecoming queen and your mom thinks that you're the greatest thing in the world and you're a straight A student and life is great. Anyone can lead under those circumstances. What kind of leader are you when your girlfriend dumps you, your mom's on your back, you just failed the test, and you are in some other kind of trouble? What kind of leader are you then? What's your body language like? How do you respond? What's your verbalness like? What kind of person have you become when the chips are down, if you will? So we want people that understand the essence of competing and overcoming adversity. And then secondly, very simply, do I have my teammates' best interest at heart? And this goes back to one of the first elements of the mission statement, being united. We want guys that are going to care for the person to the right of them, to the left of them, on the other side of the ball of them, the senior caring for the freshman caring for the senior, in everything that they do. Every decision that they're about to make, am I making it with my teammates' best interest at heart? And that, in a nutshell, is the Castleton football philosophy. One statement, two questions, and that is what your son is getting into when they come, if they choose to come and play here for us at this fine university. So I share this with you. And the other thing that I'd like to share with you, as we've talked about, is we really put an emphasis on selling this philosophy and selling this mission statement and these two questions. These two questions, we never leave the practice field without asking these two questions. We'll bring the group together and I'll call somebody out in the group. I'll say, Seth Gawanter, what two questions do you ask yourself? And I know that he's going to come back and say, Coach, can I fulfill the mission statement while competing and overcoming adversity? And do I have my teammates' best interest at heart? So the mission statement and these two questions is revisited every opportunity we get. We'll start meetings with it. We'll end practices with it. It's something that we are doing and reinforcing every opportunity that we get. So to prove to you that those kinds of things are happening and that the message is getting through, I share with you some moments here of some alumni. You're looking here at a picture of Luke Tancredi on the left and Tony Argelander on the right, that played for us a couple years ago, who are now obviously alums. Tony Argelander on the right was someone that came into some health problems, really took him kind of out of the social network for a while, if you will, as he addressed those health problems. And then Luke Tancredi on the left was the one that found him after all of that those health problems kind of subsided, and took a picture of the two of them together and then sent me this text. And as you can see there, lifelong friendships and memories. Hope all is well, Coach. And lifelong friendships and memories, if you can recall, was that final part in the mission statement. So here are two guys that played here, two guys that were friends, obviously, two people that have stayed friends, and took a moment to take this picture and then put that caption in that was related to the mission statement. So I share that one with you. The next one I'd like you to share with is Cam McHale. We talked about him in the beginning with our profiles. And Cam was one that was a business major that went out and went into the world of finance upon graduation. And he had to pass a Series 6, Series 7 license in order to do what it is that he wanted to do. If you don't pass those licenses, you can't get into the world of finance and investments and all that kind of stuff unless you pass, those license tests. So this is a text I got from him. Hey, Coach V, sorry if this is a late text, but today I passed my last exam for my job today. I just wanted to thank you for everything you've taught me over the last 4 years. Honestly, I failed multiple tests, but because of Castleton football and everything we stand for, I was able to compete while overcoming adversity and win the game. Castleton football has taught me so much about life, and I am beyond grateful that I had the opportunity to play for you and be part of an amazing organization. So that's why I get in this business. That's why I'm in this business, for moments like this. So the message is clear, the message is consistent, and the message gets through. And we'd like to think that it sticks with our guys long beyond their time here at Castleton, and that it benefits them when they go out there in the real world. So with that, I share with you those stories to prove to you that everything that we talk about is real. It's not just lip service. It's not just sales. It is a message that is reinforced constantly. It is a message that is consistent. It is a message that we like to think benefits your son. We're going to make better players. We're going to make better football players. But we also are hoping really along the way that we make better professionals, whether it be the next Cam McHale, whether it be the next Luke Tancredi, Tony Argolander, Nick Bowles, I think is the one that I have next here. Nick Bowles on the right here, Coach. This is the text that he's responding to from me when I texted him about getting promoted. So he responds back, Coach, thank you. Good to hear from you. Never would have thought I would be where I am right now. But to be successful, you got to put yourself out there and work for it. Again, as I mentioned to Coach Higley back in February, can't emphasize enough the skills I keep with me on a day-to-day basis with work ethic and overcoming adversity. So something that, again, we emphasize, and it sticks with our kids, and it is applicable to what's going to happen out there in the real world, no matter what your profession is. So our thought and our hope with those that are watching, those that have taken the time to see this video all the way through, that in 5 years, 6 years, 4, 5, 6 years, you're the next generation of Castleton football players that we're talking about. We're talking about your feats and your time here as a player, but more so what you're doing professionally when your college career is over. Are you the next teacher? Are you the next businessman? Are you the next person in the sciences that got your opportunity out there in the real world to do some wonderful things, but had it all start with your time here at Castleton? Thank you, everybody, for your time. We hope that you really give us a good look. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me. Again, my name is Tony Volpone. I'm the head football coach at Castleton University. Thank you for your time today, and Sparty on.